Have you ever followed a plan to the letter, checked every single box, hit every milestone, only to look up 6 months later and realize you're nowhere closer to where you actually want it to be? Yeah, that's not a planning problem, that's a strategy problem. And here's the truth that no one will tell you. Most people are working incredibly hard on plans that were never going to go anywhere. They're climbing ladders that are leaning against the wrong walls. And the reason for that is they're confusing planning with strategy. I'm about to show you the difference. And once you see it, you'll never waste your time running a meaningless plan again. I'm Sandra Veronica Malama. I'm a transformation program manager who works on plans on a daily basis. And I coach and help countless professionals completely rethink the way they approach success. And today we're going to destroy the most dangerous myth in business and career development. Because here's what I know. Planning is not strategy. And understanding the difference between the two isn't just academic. It could actually change the trajectory of your entire career, your business, and even your life. So let's get into it. Let me tell you about a time I had a perfect plan that led absolutely nowhere. A few years ago, I was working with a client, a brilliant person, incredibly driven, who came to me with a 40-page career development plan. No exaggeration. I'm talking color-coded spreadsheet, quarterly goals, networking targets, skill-building milestones. It was beautiful. It was detailed. It's completely useless. Because 18 months later, they were exhausted, bent out, and still stuck on the exact same role they started in. Here's what happened. They followed every step in that plan. They did everything right. Plan never asked the most important question, which is, where are you planning to go and why? It was a to-do list disguised as a career plan. And this happens everywhere, in companies, in careers, in personal developments. That's what happens when you confuse activity with direction. Okay, so let's get crystal clear on what these two things actually are, because most people use planning and strategy interchangeably, and that's where the confusion starts. Plan, by definition, is a list of action. It's the what and when. It tells you to do this task, allocate these resources, follow these steps to hit your milestones. Plans are about execution. They're about getting things done. For example, think about a wedding plan. You book the venue, you send out your invitations, you order the cake, you hire the DJ, all that good stuff. It's a checklist. If you follow it, you end up having a wedding. A strategy is a set of connected choices designed to create a sustainable competitive advantage. It's not about what you're going to do. It's about what you're going to become and why that matters. So strategy asks you, what's my unique position? What are we choosing not to do? How do we win? So back to the wedding example, strategy is deciding we want a marriage built on adventure and shared experiences, not material stuff. That decision then shapes everything. Maybe you skip the expensive venue, maybe you spend money on a honeymoon. Instead, you prioritize experiences over everything for the rest of your life. See the difference? Plan is the steps. The strategy is the direction. Planning is mapping the route. Strategy is deciding your destination and why you're even taking the trip in the first place. So you can have the best map in the world, but you don't know where you're going. You'll be wandering efficiently. So now that you know the difference between a plan and strategy, let's talk about why this distinction matters so much, because the differences aren't semantics. They're fundamental. Vision versus task. The plan tells you what you need to do. A strategy tells you what you want to become and why. Plans are tasks focused, strategies are outcome focused. So think about someone who says, I'm going to apply for 50 jobs this month. That's a plan. But the person who says, I want to position myself as a go-to expert for AI products, for example, in the healthcare space, that's strategy. The difference is flexibility and rigidity. The plans are rigid. They break down the moment reality doesn't cooperate. Strategies are adaptable. They give you principles to guide decisions when things change. And things always change. Think about COVID. During COVID, every company had to throw all their 2020 plans away because they were now useless. But the companies with strong strategies, like Amazon's strategy, for example, of customer obsession, would pivot very quickly because they had the North Star guiding their decisions. The plan said, do this. The strategy said, here's where we're going. Third difference between a plan and a strategy is differentiation versus execution. So the plan focuses on efficiency of doing things right. Strategy focuses on effectiveness of doing the right things. So a plan can be executed perfectly and still fail if it's the wrong plan. Classic example, the Southwest Airlines, they didn't just plan to offer cheap flights. That's not a plan, that's a wish. The strategy was to be the low-cost carrier by making choices that nobody else would make. So one type of aircraft, no assigned sitting, no meals, secondary airports, fast turnarounds. So every single choice reinforced their position. That's strategy. Other airlines would try and copy this plan, lower prices, but they couldn't copy the strategy without gutting their entire business model. Why teams fail without strategy? When you have plans without vision, you get misalignment because nobody knows what they're really working towards. You get inflexible because the first curveball breaks everything, and you get demotivated because people are just checking boxes with no sense of purpose. So plans without strategy feel like busy work, and they usually are. So if strategy is so important, why do most people and organizations default to planning? Because planning feels safer. We love planning. It's comfortable, it's predictable. It gives you the illusion of control. You can put it in a spreadsheet, you can track it, you can measure it, and you can show it to your boss and say, look, I've done it. I'm being productive. But here's the trap. You can be incredibly productive and still be completely ineffective. It's like meal prepping every Sunday for a diet that you haven't actually committed to. You've got all your containers lined up, everything portioned out right, and you feel accomplished. But if you haven't made the strategic decision about what health actually means for you, why it matters, you'll quit by Wednesday, if you even make it to Wednesday. The planning trap leads to wasted effort, and you're busy, but you're not progressing. You keep following the plan even when it's clearly not working because you've already invested so much in it, okay? So how do you actually think strategically? How do you make sure that you're not just planning efficiently towards the wrong destination? First, get clear on what you want to become, not just what you want to do. Ask yourself, what do I want to be in 3 years? What do I want to be known for? What value do I want someone to know me for? Don't say I want to be a manager, for example, that's a title. So say I want to be a leader who transforms struggling teams into high-performing teams or by building psychological safety. That's the strategy. Align actions with outcomes. So every action you take should be clearly connected to your strategic outcome. If you want to draw a straight line from what you're doing today to maybe where you want to be in the next 3 years, stop doing it. I'll give you a personal example. Early in my career, I was saying yes to every client, every speaking opportunity, every workshop. I had a plan to do more, reach more people, and make more money, but I didn't have a strategy. So I got exhausted, my messages got diluted, and I wasn't attracting the right clients. Then I made a strategic choice. I'm going to be the coach and the professional who wants to accelerate into leadership roles in tech. I said no to 40% of opportunities and narrowed down my focus. I built deeper expertise, and within a few months, my impact tripled, and I actually had time to breathe. So here's what I want you to do. Think about your biggest goals right now, whether it's career, business, personal growth, whatever, and ask yourself honestly, do you have a strategy for it, or do you just have a plan? Because the world doesn't need more people working harder for the wrong thing. It needs people who are working with clarity and courage to pursue the right thing. And if this video helped you see the difference, share it with someone who might be stuck in planning trap. They'll thank you for it. I'm Sandra Veronica Malama, and remember, a plan tells you what to do, a strategy tells you who you become. Choose wisely. I'll see you in the next one.